More so, just like you would if someone is coming to you for comfort, like, listening to them, allowing yourself to talk about what you've experienced and how it truly makes you feel. It's just like when you have a conversation with someone and you may find after that conversation, you feel so much better. Yeah. It does not mean that what happened, we can't go back and change what has happened, but you may tend to feel lighter. I think a lot of times we also forget to give ourselves comfort.
Yeah. Greetings and welcome to Tea Vybz Tribe Podcast. My name is Amaru and this is my beautiful wife,
Shana. And for those of you who are new to our channel, we are Our Essence of Serenity, and this is our Tea Vybz Tribe Podcast, where we like to sip tea and talk about various subjects. So would you like to tell the people what we're sipping on?
For sure. We are drinking on Lady Earl.
Yes. Is it Lady Earl or Lady Grey? You right, Lady Earl, because it's... Lady, what you said?
Lady Earl.
Lady Earl.
Look at an old school name.
From like the cafe or something.
Yeah, one of them holes in the wall.
So we're also going to have the benefits of this tea listed over here or over here if somebody is petty. And then also down in the description below. So today what we're going to talk about is trauma. And also in us talking about trauma, just more so talking about ways in which we've noticed that trauma can tend to show up on our path. So we are going to be serious today and go ahead and dive right into the topic. So did you want to start or did you want me to start?
I can start. So trauma, it can be like, you know how they say certain illnesses can be a silent killer?
Yeah.
You have trauma that is the same thing, but it's more embedded based off our emotions, based off our experiences, based off our past. And it can affect us in a way to where we won't even know that certain things that have been, afflicted upon us, we'll literally project that on those around us. And it's even more crucial when it's towards those that really do care and love and care for you as far as your overall demeanor and your overall, what's the word I'm looking for? Overall well-being is what I'm saying. So we have to find ways of identifying those particular, I wouldn't say flaws, but those type of endeavors within ourselves to where we can start getting to a place of peace rather than suffering.
Kind of like seeing them as like red flags for us,
right?
To know that, okay, this is stemming from trauma.
Right.
I think a lot of times we go through stuff and we're so used to going through things. We're so used to what we call life happening until we don't always realize that there are times where it's actually we've just been traumatized, like we've experienced something that's very traumatic. A lot of times when we think of trauma, we think of the worst of the worst, so we tend to downplay what actually has caused us trauma. Sometimes we compare like, okay, well, I know this person that went through this and I haven't went through anything like that, so I'm good. That still, to me, I feel like it doesn't take away from the fact that you've experienced trauma and that it's playing out in your life. Even if you don't realize the ways in which it's impacting your life, it's still taking a toll on your life. So, yeah, that's how I see it. And I agree with you. Being able to recognize those red flags is like, we say God, universe, most high. So whenever you hear me say the universe, I'm basically just acknowledging the source. But I feel like those are ways in which the universe is letting us know, hey, it's something here that you need to take time to actually look at and assess. So it's like it's a bird. Our backyard is like right behind us, so it's like we hear a bird like
something to the
messengers.
To what she was saying as far as veils being put over the eyes, denial can play a huge factor into not seeing those crucial things within ourselves. that can play a part or can stem from, childhood trauma that can go into our adult ages, to where it's like you always thought it was just a part of who you were, not knowing that this had nothing to do with, who you identify yourself as. This is just something that came along the way. A lot of times we'll go through trauma and don't even realize it's actual trauma. You won't even realize that this is something that's affected me in a way to where it's like, I didn't even know, because it was so deeply embedded within my subconscious. It's like it's there, but it's not even evident until something happens, as far as that's something that ties into your emotions that may trigger you. And then when you trigger those particular things, there's no telling where it could take you. This could be due to situations within families. This could be something dealing with sexual harassment. This could be something, it could be many levels of trauma that can affect the individual a certain way. And just knowing how to be able to feel safe within yourself and comfortable enough about talking about it, getting it out your system towards those that you can trust, and actually have no sense of embarrassment or discomfort when expressing those type of emotions.
And I feel like one way that come to mind for me is having a family member that was sick at one point. Even if that family member recovered, it still can be a thing of that's still very traumatic. I know for me, like, I can't stand going to hospitals. Like, it's very triggering for me. So people have to understand that just because you physically made it through something and you've been able to continue on your path, it does not mean that you've dealt with that trauma and you're over that trauma. I find that a lot of times people don't like to acknowledge that they've been traumatized because it's the whole thing of, well, I don't want to be a victim. Yeah. Well, to me, you're a victim when you're also a victim when you don't acknowledge that you've been through something. Like putting it in a closet and shutting the door and not dealing with it is not what, I guess, takes away from you being a victim, because it still happened and you still haven't dealt with it. I know a lot of times I may think about certain things and it make me feel some type of way, and because I don't want to feel sad, it's like I'll start thinking about something else. And that's not really a good way to deal with that, because once again, just because I'm not allowing myself to feel those emotions, like I'm not intentionally, shall I say, allowing myself to feel those emotions, it does not mean that those emotions are not there and they're not taking a toll on my life. I feel like some of the choices and the decisions that we make stem from traumas. And I'm not trying to say that if you're traumatized, every choice and decision that you've made since that traumatic experience has been one that it wasn't meant for you to make. I'm not saying that, because I do feel like, yeah, we can be traumatized and still progress in certain areas of our life. But what about the areas that suffer and take a back seat because of the trauma? Yeah. So I feel like I guess my advice for myself, since I said I don't like to feel those emotions, is not so much just sitting there and allowing myself or yourself, if this is something you deal with, to be sad, but asking yourself questions. Why does this make me feel this way? More so just like you would if someone is coming to you for comfort, like, listening to them, allowing yourself to talk about what you've experienced and how it truly makes you feel. It's just like when you have a conversation with someone and you may find after that conversation, you feel so much better. Yeah. It does not mean that what happened, we can't go back and change what has happened, but you may tend to feel lighter. I think a lot of times we also forget to give ourselves comfort. Yeah. Because we're so used to looking for comfort from someone outside of ourselves until we forget that we can provide that to ourselves. And that can go a long way. Yeah. So it sticks more to me when it comes from within than when it's something that you've gotten from outside of yourself.
That's true.
So,
well, before we go any further, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
This video is sponsored by Tea Vybz, which is a holistic line created by Our Essence of Serenity. The Relaxation butter is a moisturizing butter that is infused with catnip. Catnip is known to provide a calming effect and aids with skin irritation. Our relaxation butter also has shea butter, which is known to aid with stretch marks, dry skin, dandruff, prevent cell damage, enhance skin texture, and more. We've also included oils such as jojoba oil, vitamin E oil, and more. Not only is our relaxation butter beneficial for the skin, but it's also beneficial for the hair as it reduces split ends, makes the hair shinier, and provides moisture to the hair. To read more about our relaxation butter, be sure to check out our website, www.ouressenceofserenity.net, under the Zenful Vibes tab. And we are back. So in case we called it by the wrong name, we're trying out different teas, so bear with us. So it's actually called Lady Grey. Yeah. So just in case we kind of confused y'all at the beginning, doing the sponsor video that we would like for you to go over to our website and check out that product, we Googled it and it's actually Lady Grey that we're drinking. Yes. But back to the subject. Yeah. So you were saying?
So we were talking more so from an individual standpoint when it comes to trauma, but we can also talk more in the depths of how it can affect a spouse or a loved one, mm-hmm. or how you can integrate something like that within a relationship and not know it. One of the major factors that play into not being able to realize how you can literally project that type of trauma onto a loved one is through pride in your ego. Like, we have a tendency, especially as men, to not acknowledge, you actually went through something and it needs to be something that's addressed, because it could be something sensitive or because it could be something very impactful. You will consider it as being too sensitive and not being able to really not necessarily feel comfortable, but feel safe within yourself to express that without feeling like you're demising yourself, like you're less than a man. There's nothing wrong with expressing your emotions. There's nothing wrong with expressing your feelings, especially when you have someone at your side, woman or man, that has that nurturing spirit to actually help you get through those type of things. Mm-hmm. Because dealing with it alone sometimes isn't enough. Sometimes you do need something to not necessarily just get rid of the pain, but also fill that pain up, fill those voids up with love. You got to be able to heal. So with pain, there comes the healing. And a lot of times we hide our scars. A lot of times we don't realize how deeply inflicted certain wounds are, not necessarily just on our temples, but how it affects our psychological factor, how it affects us spiritually. Like, we need to know how to be able to be comfortable and, like I said, safe within ourselves to just be like, you know what? I did go through this and it is a problem. Don't get me wrong. I made it this far and I know I'm strong. But that doesn't take into consideration of you acknowledging that you really went through something. So you need to take that time and self-reflect, do that shadow work, take that time to be out in, high vibrational areas such as nature or with loved ones, with family that can actually
whatever makes you
happy. Exactly. Gives you that environment to where it's like, I don't feel like I'm being compromised. I don't feel like I'm being in a place to where I don't belong. I actually feel like I can actually express myself in a way to where I won't be misjudged. I will actually be felt for the pain that I've went through. So that is very, very important to know that, yes, what I've gone through is crucial, and I got to make sure that I find some resolution to this so that way I don't harm others.
Yeah. Or yourself.
Or yourself even more. Yeah.
I think also, speaking in terms of spouses, when you don't deal with your trauma, it plays out in your marriage. Like your spouse becomes impacted by it because it may be something that they do or say, and they don't mean it in a way that you take it and you're triggered by it. You tend to get upset with them, and it's because they not, and I hope it's not intentional, but they unintentionally triggered that trauma. So that's also ways that it can play out. One thing that I know is that what you don't, you can't hit. Oh, I got. I guess I still had tea in my mouth. You can't heal from something that you won't acknowledge. all that's going to happen is it's going to sit there and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger because things in life is just going to continue to trigger it. So just think about this ball that's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then one day it's going to explode. And what is that going to look like? When you think back on your life, how are you going to feel about it, knowing that, man, I missed out on this, or I could have been doing this, or I could have been confident about this, but instead I was holding on to trauma that I never dealt with, that I never laid to rest. So yeah.
And one of the many ways that can be very just dramatic towards one's psyche or towards one's overall demeanor is when it comes from an unstable family structure.
Yeah.
Especially when it involves generational curses or generational traditions that have been passed down and passed down to where it's just been accepted and this is how it should be.
You just get over it.
And just get over it type thing. It's like you have a lot of parents that went through so much when they were children, not being able to go to someone and confide them when it comes to, okay, this was wrong. And I know it's wrong because I had this elder telling me this is what happened. This is why it happened. And this is how you can get over it type of situation. So when you don't have that and you have your own offsprings, there's no telling what you could do. There's no telling the type of mentality you would have when it comes to giving something that they don't even deserve to have in their own lives. It's like taking away their will to live by their own means, taking away their choices, right. Taking away the opportunities that keep them from blossoming into who they're meant to be. So a lot of that has to deal with the way families are.
Yeah, unresolved
trauma.
Told that, you get over it. Life go on.
Right.
And just because life may seem like it's going on, is it really, if you haven't dealt with that trauma?
Right.
So at this time, we would like to engage more in this conversation with y'all. When we get on here and we speak on these topics, we're also wanting to hear from y'all. We also want y'all to be included in this. Share things with us that we don't know, share things like if it's something that we didn't discuss in this video and it's something that's on your heart, share it down below. We do respond back to comments. So also check out our website. I'm going to do the www because I'm so used to doing that, but www.ouressenceofserenity.net, where we make high vibrational handcrafted jewelry. Also, where we write our blogs, check those out. We have a blog that was just, when did I write that blog? Earlier this month?
What 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So be sure to check that out. Also, be sure to check out our Zen for Vibes tab under our website, where we have our holistic products, where we have the Elixir and the Relaxation body butter. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. I think one video I said follow us on YouTube and TikTok or something. But make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Like this video, subscribe. I said that. Share this video because you never know who this message is meant to reach, and you don't want to get in the way of the universe conveying this message to them. And what am I leaving out? Hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when we post content. Also make sure that you definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel, because every month we post our monthly predictions video. So, that's something that can kind of get you ahead of the game for that next month. We're starting to get in the habit of posting it. Like for example, for September, we posted the September predictions video at the end of this month. So that you can kind of have a heads up going into the next month. And am I missing anything?
You actually touched on everything this time.
Did I really?
You did.
Okay. Well, is there anything that you want to say?
No. Just more so, this reverts back to our first podcast episode. People can't go where you grow. So just know that
your trauma.
Right. Yeah. Including your trauma. Just know that you're not alone. And just like my wife mentioned, like there's nothing wrong with being in a point to where you are comfortable with expressing yourself. Yeah. So leave a comment if you want to talk about your experiences. So yeah,
we definitely want to hear it.
Yes.
And also something that I think I won't say that it's going to be soon, as like within like a couple of weeks or something like that, but we do have our mentor service that we offer, our life coaching service that we offer. So that's something that I think soon we're going to start talking about how we want to reconstruct that.
Yeah.
So just make sure also that you subscribe to our newsletter, because once we start bringing back that service, we'll actually be announcing it also. That won't be the only way, but it will be through our newsletter, and you never know, you may get a discount if you subscribe to our newsletter. So that's it, huh?
And that is it.
Well, until next time, you all take care. And what do they need to do, Sweetness?
Stay lifted.
All right.